Good evening, everybody, and welcome to Long Pond, Pennsylvania for the Pocono round of the ANZCAR Cup series brought to you by 24/7 Sim Services. It is round 20 of 36 here at the Tricky Triangle. I am Carl Wilkinson with you. Joining me up here in the booth on cameras and mic is Mr. Matty Hunter. Matt, how are you going, mate?
I'm doing well, Carl. Doing well. Yeah, good to have you back on the booth again for another night, and hope you're doing well as well.
Yes, managed to drag myself out of the dirt and back out of the grave for another night of racing. But glad to do it here at Pocono. It's looking to be an interesting race, of course. Pocono, one of those tracks that can catch people out. It's not the easiest to run on, especially that mid section across that little bridge section. Expect a few people to have some struggles through those sections tonight. But looking forward to this race for sure.
Indeed, indeed, yes, the Tricky Triangle it is called. Obviously, it's three different turns. Each one is different and modelled after a turn of another track, and so I know the real life guys. I think they pretty much can't set the car up to do all three corners. They have to kind of set it up to do two good corners, and the third one's always not so great for them.
Exactly, yeah. So turn one modelled after Trento Speedway, turn two modelled after Indianapolis Motor Speedway, and then the Milwaukee Mile is turn number three. It's three very different tracks, which makes this such a unique place, and it is one of the hardest tracks to drive on. It doesn't really look it because it is so wide. There's such a huge amount of road available to people. But it is a track that will easily catch you out, and you get the car, you get comfortable in two corners, but there's always that one corner you struggle in, and you go up into the barrier just like that. Who was that? Sorry, I just couldn't see there. The 62, that Mirko Dortnack was that.
Yes, yep,
Um,
we're riding with Mirko.
this is the problem with Pocono. It is one of those tracks that will absolutely catch you out if you're not paying attention. If you just lose that little bit of mid corner grip, you'll all of a sudden find yourself drifting up the track and then straight into the wall. And that is pretty much your race over because this place is also very fast. You need to have a good, clean car here to keep the speed up because otherwise you're going to start struggling on the long, long straights of this very tricky triangle.
Indeed, yeah, drafting's key important as well, and yeah, definitely that tunnel turn, which is turn two. As the tires wear, it does become kind of like a one groove thing, where if you're up high, you're just going to be super slow, and the cars on the inside are going to pass you with relative ease. So look for lots of side to side battles going down. As actually we're seeing a good example of it of just on the screen at the moment with two cars. But if they are side by side going into turn two, the tunnel turn, it's not going to be good for the car on the outside.
You do get a lot of that side draft, and that can cause the car just to get that little bit unweighted. And the aero of this new generation of Cup car as well, it does shake things up a little bit. To give you an idea of the speed of this place, I think it was Briscoe set an overall lap time about 220 miles per hour around here, average lap speed. And that is very fast back in a IndyCar, of course, rather than the NASCAR. But these NASCARs get up to a ridiculous amount of speed as well here. They are getting well up to the 280 kilometer to almost 290 in the draft, down these big long straights. And then you get into the corner, almost 300 kilometers per hour as you get to the corner entry. Got to lift off, get through that corner. And that's not always an easy thing to do. And I think we're joined in the booth by Mr. Mark Johansson. Mark, how you going?
Yeah, good gentlemen. How are you?
Good, thank you indeed. Pleasure to have you up in the booth, mate. Always nice to see you lurking around.
Yeah, I wasn't sure whether I was going to make it before the race, so I sent Matt a message today. Work's been a bit busy, but I've been able to walk in and find that we're still in warm up. So I thought I'd jump in and say g'day.
Always a pleasure, Mark. Always a pleasure. So let us run through the starting order of tonight's race here. Say for round 20 of 36 on the front row, it is Dyson and Foster. The battle continues. Second row, we have Skurlock and Jones. Third row is Martin and Turner. Martin having a great run last night at Indianapolis in the Thunder Series. Then the fourth row, we have Russell and Pearson. Watch out for those two. Fifth row is Douglas and Schultz, Jai Schultz, that is. Sixth row, we have Phelps and Raymond. Ray getting a good qualifying session out there. Seventh row is Dortnack and Aidan Schultz. Eighth row we have Wellman and Micklemore. Micklemore's going to be a bit unhappy with that qualifying, but watch him try and work his way up through the field. Then we go to Neil and Norman Clark. Norman and Neil Clark on the 9th row. 10th row is Witcher and Nankervis. 11th row, we have Trehair and Pritchard. On the 12th row, it is Jackson and Fenley. 13th row is Lob and Koch. 14th row, we have Maloney and Patton. 15th row is Stevie Dub and Daniel Hedderscheid. And that rounds out the field tonight.
Again, another pretty strong field here tonight, Carl.
Yeah, a lot of fast drivers out there, a lot of quick ones on the grid, and a lot of drivers that are very quick down the back end of the field tonight. That's going to be interesting to see how they work their way up through the traffic and pick their way through. And of course, Pocono is, it's one of those places that can have a bit of a big one sometimes. It's one of those tracks that is known to have some big accidents. So a place that you're going to have to keep an eye out for, keep your nose clean and try and avoid those crashes. Big shout out to Gail Foster in the chat tonight. Unfortunately, come down with COVID. We wish you a speedy recovery, and hopefully Mr. Edward Foster can have a relatively strong run tonight. I'll try not to mention him too much, so he does well in the race. Although it did not hurt. Jason Martin last night. He did manage to win the Indianapolis round despite me picking him, so he managed to break the curse of the commentator for once. But the pace car will be pulling here at Pocono. Now it's going to be Dyson leading away in the 41 Phoenix Smokers DPR car, the orange flavoured DPR car. Scullock's going to be sitting right on the back here. Ryan Jones running a new livery tonight with a Coca-Cola themed livery, and we are green here for round 20 of the ANZCAR Cup. 24/7 Sim Services race, and a great start for Foster, side by side with Dyson on the outside. Look at Jason Martin trying to get down low with Dave Douglas. Dave Douglas, the lowest of the field at the moment. Skurlock pushing his way through. Skurlock's going to try and make a run, but Dyson makes it hard for him. Dyson just comes down to block that low line off. Skurlock could get a chance to get it to P2 here if he has the run for it. He's going to probably ease off over the tunnel corner of turn 2. Makes it through nicely. Ryan Jones on the outside of him at the moment. They're going to go too wide through tunnel corner on the first corner. Oh, Jones gets a little bit wiggly in the mid-corner. He's struggling for grip, but manages to hold it just behind him. I think it was Kai Turner did a good job of holding that car straight. Jason Martin gets a beautiful run off that corner. There are a heap of cars down the back battling for position. Now you've got to be careful as you come into turn 3, because this is where you can really start to struggle. If you run up wide here, you're going to tag that wall. Looks like everybody's making it through cleanly so far for the first lap of this race.
I was just looking further back, Carl, as you're saying, there were some brave boys back there, 3 wide into that turn 3.
Yeah, it is a brave move to make, especially this early on. We've talked about it all season long with these cars, this Gen 7 Cup car. Much bigger wheels on these, of course. They've got the bigger rims on them, which means they take a little bit longer to heat up those tyres, and that can sometimes cause a little bit of problems. Jaden Russell having a nice run up there now, just getting past Ryan Jones at the moment. Ryan Jones just falling down the order a little bit right here. Looks like Kai Turner and Jaden Russell have got the tyres switched on quite quickly here at the moment, and they're pushing it along nicely. Meanwhile, up the front, it is a 4-way battle between Dyson, Foster, Skurlock, and Turner at the moment. Those guys are sort of starting to pull a little bit of a gap from Jaden Russell at the moment.
As we see quite a bit of action back there. It's 2 wide. Josh Micklemore and Jay Schultz, I believe, heading to turn 1.
And you've got also got down there, looks like Matty Ray with Mirko. Those two getting very close to each other as well, putting on a good fight at the moment. Seeing who can work their way through at the moment. And it's these early stages of the race here at Pocono, you don't want to go too hard too quickly. Of course, tyre wear can become a little bit of an issue here as well. You do tend to scrub up the track, and it tends to damage that front right a little bit more than some other tracks here, as we were talking for before the race. Of course, you've got 3 corners, all different corners, and you can really start to cause damage to your tyres if you push it too hard.
Yeah, we were here the other week, Carl, and I can tell you, I'm not sure on the temperature today here at Pocono, but when we ran, we were up at almost 90 degrees Fahrenheit, so it was a warm day.
It was 104 today.
Yeah,
Yeah.
it's much warmer. It's actually 40 Celsius, 104 as it said.
Yeah.
So, yeah, I think I remember that race, Mark, and it was very hot indeed. And that does not make things easy because you're going to start to. Obviously, it's a little bit easier to get the tyres up to temperature, but the tyres will take a lot longer to cool down if you get them too hot. And you can easily do this on a track like this.
Yeah, and what we've actually found too, Carl, it's not actually the tyre wear that's causing all the issue. As you said, a warm day, tyres get hot, and it's the actual tyre heat that's causing the problem.
Oh.
Um,
Sorry,
I think
we both sort of went oop
I've
when we
taken a
saw.
note. That's Jane
Yeah.
Russell.
Yeah, it looks like Ryan Jones just got a little bit tight there on the exit of turn 3. A little bit of side contact, but no harm, no foul.
No, it was a good driving from both those boys there to keep that car out of the wall there.
And as that right front tyre does heat up, I think Mark's right, it will get pretty tight for the drivers.
And oddly, Ryan Jones running a Downey Hamlin race paint job tonight, so he's not supporting the bushes. So that's a strange thing to see.
He did like it when it did come out. So I just see a comment. Mark, your microphone's a little bit quiet. I don't know if you're able to make an adjustment there.
how's that?
A little bit better. I might bump up the sound for you as well.
Meanwhile, Jaden Russell and Kai Turner are having a ding-dong battle at the moment as well, and Ryan Jones is starting to get in there now. I think he was just taking a little bit longer to get his tyres into the working temperature range. He's just slowed it down a bit at the start, got those tyres into a nice range for himself. As Russell gets a big snap of oversteer on the exit of turn 3, I think it was. Just manages to hold that there, but that's stretched the run. Look at Ryan Jones making it 3 wide into the corner, down to 2 wide now into turn 2, And Ryan Jones getting a good run off the corner now. He's battling it out with Jaden Russell at the moment. He's got Kai Turner behind him. Michael Skurlock up on the high line with Martin and Russell just in front at the moment. Russell comes down to cover off Jones and is holding his position there. Good racing here for 4th position.
Yeah, it's pretty aggressive. The front back here. There's there's a bit of a worry there, but no, they did really well. They all got through it.
Yeah, it definitely looks like Jones he wasn't pushing too hard at the start, and he's let those tyres get up to a little bit of temperature, a little bit slower than some of the rest maybe, but that's worked out for him in his favour because he's got much more speed now at this stage of the race than some of those drivers that pushed a little bit hard a little bit earlier. So interesting to see the little strategies that are being played at the moment between those drivers.
Indeed. And in terms of strategy overall, we're looking roughly around about 35 laps for a tank of fuel. And so, yeah, you might see drivers... I don't think we're going to see anybody push it. 10 laps over 2 runs is probably a lot to make up on fuel. So we're probably looking at everybody doing a 2-stop strategy if it goes green.
If anyone can save 10 laps of fuel, I want to know how.
Exactly, yeah. So I think we'll see, and you know, depending on what they like, a good even split would be 30-30-20, or yeah, who knows. You might see somebody come in and put 35 laps from the end, knowing that they can make it to the end. As we see some more action here with Skurlock and Kai Turner trying to get past Jones in the red Coca-Cola car there.
Is this one Skurlock's favourite tracks? I can't remember whether he said he liked this track or not.
No, I don't know. I do know it is Jason Martin's favourite track. At least this one and Indianapolis are Jason Martin's favourite track. So
Skurlo's having a good run here in the early stages at the moment.
It's good to see him up in the top 4.
Yeah, it definitely is. He's been mid-pack a lot this season, but yeah, when he has had some good results.
Yeah, he's been a bit quiet by his standards, I think. But yeah, he might be just looking at trying to ramp it up now and heading into the chase, which is obviously going to be 5 races away from this one. Yeah, he might be looking just to ramp up the form a bit.
Yeah,
get to grips with the car.
It's well worth doing, of course, because there's a couple of drop rounds to come in into the chase, of course. So championship positions are key. You would have seen at the start of the broadcast we had the championship results up, but currently Brenton Hobson's leading the championship ahead of Dyson, Jason Martin third, fourth for Pearson, Micklemore fifth, sixth for Foster, Scullock seventh, eighth for Trahair, ninth for Phelps, and Jackson in 10th. And that's going to be the coveted spot, those last few spots, really. The next driver along is Gary Wellman and then Daniel Hederscheid. So they're all going to be wanting to try to get into the chase, of course, and that's going to be a real key feature for these final few rounds, is who can get the job done and who can actually squeak their way into those chase positions. And will we see 11 cars in the chase again this year, as is tradition for ANZCAR, as we get as somebody always manages to score the same points as P10, or will we actually have 10 cars?
Just on that, Carl and Matt, for the people that don't know, how do the guys make the chase? Like in real racing, it's points for stage wins, it's race wins. So how does ANZCAR actually run and qualify through the chase?
It's a pretty simple one, really. It's just top of the top 10 in point standings after 26 rounds, with 6 drop rounds applied, I believe. I don't, from off the top of my head, I don't think there is any drop rounds in the last 10 races. First 26 races of the season, top 10 with the 6 drop rounds applied, go through and then into the chase.
Well, that definitely makes it a lot easier than trying to work out stage points, race points, who's won what race.
If there was an easier way to do it, yeah, sure. I mean, if there was an easier way to work it out, but just having to sit down and manually work all that math out, is all that arithmetic. Yeah, I don't think we really want to go down that road.
Stages are a dirty word in ANZCAR. We don't like them.
I don't really think they're really well liked in real life either.
They are not. Good battle going on at the moment between Turner, Aidan Schultz, and Josh Micklemore at the moment. The 31 car of Josh Micklemore just getting a nice little run on Kai Turner in the 408. Kai Turner's had a really good turnaround this season. He's had some good scores and some good positions. It's good to see Kai back in the series. Nice to see him back. He's a long time runner in ANZCAR. And he's been having some good runs. Bit of smokers. Dave Douglas! Almost put the curse of the commentator on there for sure. Dave Douglas hits the wall, I think. Or goes sideways. He gets into the back of Ryan Jones. Neil Pearson, gets into the back of Neil Pearson, who was just checking up for Ryan Jones, because him and Jaden Russell made contact, and that caused a big check-up behind, and Kai Turner and Josh Micklemore just saved themselves from a nasty accident there.
Yeah, just having a little look at the replay here and just see if we can work out what happened there.
So jump up to Ryan Jones quickly.
Let's slow that down.
So that's going to be where you want to watch up.
Yep.
So he makes the move on Jaden Russell here, and they make contact in at the mid corner. I think it is just as they get into the corner. There's a little bit of contact.
Yeah.
And all of a sudden, sideways he goes.
That's that. Going side by side through turn 2. Oh, it looks like Ryan just got loose on the bottom or tight and just pushed right up.
Yeah.
Oh, I see. Yeah, and it just Constantine, the rest of the pack, everybody sort of checked up and the cars behind just came flying through. And
great reflexes from everybody behind there, because there's not really any car with damage. Nobody made contact other than Jones and Russell there.
Yeah.
Everybody else managed to check up in time there. And that was almost a huge accident. Dave Douglas lost a lot more positions as he slammed on the brakes, of course, to get out of that one. He was lucky to not get caught up by anybody else. Everybody else doing a great job there of avoiding contact.
Yeah, indeed. And I think he's got a little bit of damage, has he? Oh no, car looks okay. But he's battling there with Schultz there, and Jake Maloney working his way up from the back. Obviously, Jake Maloney is he's pretty strong here. I know that definitely. Just trying to find the best words. He's sort of like a road course sort of ringing sort of guy. He's very quick driver on the road course side, and does select events. Jumps in for the odd race, and when he does, he's usually pretty strong. I think he swept both races that we did at Pocono last year. from memory.
Yeah, this is definitely a course that he is very strong at, Maloney. And Maloney is one of those drivers that when he's in the field, he will absolutely push it. And he generally does very well in it as well. So, very quick driver. And as you say, very quick on ovals and road courses as well. Meanwhile, up the front, Foster's starting to look at making a move on Dyson. He's just checking at the moment. He's just doing a couple of probing attacks. And just seeing what he can make of it, just getting all up in the mirrors of Daiso at the moment, trying to distract him a little bit, not really working in his favour as it stands, but they have got a nice bit of gap between themselves and Jaden Russell and Michael Skurlock in third and fourth. Oh, has Mirko Dortmund got a problem? He's just losing some time. Not sure what's actually happened to Mirko. I think Mirko's got some kind of technical issue, maybe. He's coming into pit lane. He lost a whole lot of speed. I wonder if he's had a sort of technical failure there for Mirko.
Yeah, well, he might have some contact, or he might be done for the night. He might be calling it a night.
Yeah, it didn't make any contact I could see. It just looked like the car, it got really unstable and then just pulled down to the low line and just eased it into pit lane. So not exactly sure what happened to Mirko there. But something sort of just went wrong, and then he just sort of pulled out of the race there, and maybe some kind of mechanical failure on his rig or something like that. Meanwhile, a little bit further back, we've got Jason Martin on the move, making the move on Michael Skurlock at the moment, and Neil Pearson's going to try and take advantage of this. He gets a good run as well.
Yeah, he's got a really good run off turn 3 there. Is he going to be side by side? No, he's going to slot in there in the gap between Martin and Skurlock there for turn 1.
Yeah, there's too much racing going on at the moment, which is always a good problem to have.
Yeah, we could pretty much point the camera anywhere in the field, and there'll be pretty much some good action. So
there's some really good drives going on at the moment for positions. You know, one of them, Jake Maloney, of course, up 19 positions at the moment. That's a really strong run. Daniel Hederscheid up 11 positions as well. 6 positions for Josh Micklemore. They're moving their way nicely through the field at the moment. So some big moves going on there. A couple of drivers I was sort of having a bit of a peek at earlier and sort of thinking about is Stevie Dubb and Brad Fenley. They've sort of been a fair bit off the pace tonight, but I wonder if they're trying to save a bit of fuel just in case we go green, and seeing if they can maybe pull a one-stopper out of the bag. Just absolutely saving from the start, because they've been pretty consistent down the back there, and they're not really. They're just easing off. I was listening to them earlier on, and they just seem to be doing a little bit of saving. So I wonder if possibly they're trying to go for a single stint. It's going to be tricky to make it work, but worth a shot.
yeah, let's have a little bit of a listen and see.
As I will actually bring attention back up to Jaden Russell, because there's a huge battle going on for third place now as Jason Martin makes the move down the inside. We've got cars 2 wide at the moment, maybe 3 wide as they come out the corner. Micklemore making a move as well on Martin. It is Pearson on the inside. Micklemore there, 3 wide still as we get Maloney moving up as well. Maloney moving his way up towards the front of the field as they go 3 wide into turn number 1. Martin just easing out a little bit. I think they're just deciding that discretion is the better part of valor, but they're still 3 wide here. Through the corner, Martin drops down to the low line. Maloney goes up high. He gets a better run off the exit here. He's going to try and get past Pearson right now. It's Russell in the lead of this pack. Pearson currently sitting in the 2nd spot, but Maloney moving his way up there as well. Martin is trying his best. Look at Kate Donnelly sneaking his way through with Josh Micklemore. These guys are really pushing along. Don't discount Skurlock from here either. They are absolute side by side at the moment.
Yeah. And,
where's this contact? Contact between Russell and Pearson. And that is a big wreck, and that is a crying shame there for Russell, who's having a great run there. Just gets caught out a little bit and turned around, and that is it. He goes between the barriers, and luckily, does he catch anyone else? He does, unfortunately. Gets spun up into Barry Neal. Unfortunately, Barry Neal is out of this race with some serious suspension damage, and then I think the Witcher cars maybe got caught up in that one as well. A lot of damage towards the back there.
Just see if we can grab when this incident. See if we can zoom it in and have it slow down and people can make up their mind.
Yeah, unfortunately, Barry Neal got really caught out in that one. Jaden Russell did. He sort of did a very brave move of getting out of the road. He got out of the road very quickly and managed to slide past in front of Luke Trahair there instead of holding the brakes because Luke was going into the side of him if he held the brakes there. But Barry Neal is, I think, possibly out of this race as well because he's got a lot of damage to the front end of that car. Watch this one. He flies up there and then Barry Neal's got nowhere to go. Bang. Yep. And then
you
Russell.
You can even see from this far out there is the left front wheel of Barry's car wobbling around after the contact.
Yeah, so but, yeah, this will be one that's looked at, I'm sure.
Yep, it will be. It seems to be the same guys having incidents all the time, so.
And yeah, that was a big wreck, and that's what we were afraid of, especially this high up. Luckily, less cars got caught in it than we expected.
I'd just been down and spoke to both Brad Finley and Barry Neal, mate. Barry Neal doesn't sound happy. I said, how much damage? And his comments was heaps. And that's all he said. So we don't know if we'll see him back. And as for Brad said he's just hanging back there trying to stay out of trouble.
A wise decision, and he luckily he's avoided most of that. But big shame for Barry Neal, nowhere to go there, and it was just a millimetre or two that caught him there, and that was it. Absolutely nothing between them there. Real shame there, and that has brought the first caution out on lap. Was that lap 19? I think it was, and that's going to mean that I'd say everybody's going to come down pit lane right now and top up the tanks, get some fresh boots on, and we're going to get a restart. But of course, there's still 59 laps left, so we might see some people deciding to stick it out a little bit and go a bit longer. So I wonder what we're going to find here now. Depends how much tyre wear, I suppose, is going on. I didn't really get a chance to look at the laps beforehand, but I'm expecting to see a few cars come down pit lane, and we'll see what happens strategy-wise.
Yeah, just having a look for the data here. Everybody has pitted.
Oh yeah, sorry, they have.
Yep. So yeah, I made sure I gave everybody, the viewer, multiple views of the incident, so they can all go and look at it and make their mind up. That's what we're here for. We give you the views, and you can have a look and see what you think. But yeah, it looks like everybody sort of pitted there, and those times we're looking at fuel and tyres covered by the fuel. Yeah. So I would say we've got everybody on fresh set of tyres, and yeah, so.
Yeah, fresh boots and full tanks of fuel for everybody now. So we effectively go back to the status quo. But I've got to say, looking good for Jake Maloney right now. He gained 23 positions in that first run. He's now got equal tyres to everybody else. He's not had to work these new tyres as hard. He's going to be one of those drivers to watch out for. Michael Skurlock, big loser in the pit stops. He lost a lot of time. He's dropped down to 21st position, so big shame for Skurley. He was having a good run. Kai Turner as well, down to 22nd. I think a lot of that was because they were avoiding some of that incident as well. I think Kai Turner might have got some damage on his car and maybe having to get some repairs done as well. So,
that's right. His pit stop was a bit longer than everybody else's. Skurlock's was a bit longer. So yeah, I think sort of 10 seconds worth of damage sort of for those guys.
Yeah, luckily nothing really on the nose, so it doesn't look like they got any sort of major aero damage. Always tricky on Skurlock's car to tell if there's damage on the front because you can never tell. But
it's got that big mo on it.
Exactly, it manages to hide the damage well. But yeah, I'd say they probably just got a quick few repairs just done there. So this is shaking up the order an enormous amount right now as we come around the corners. The pace car will be dropping in very shortly for Pocono round of the ANZCAR the ANZCAR Series, the Cup Series, brought to you by 24/7 Sim Services. As the pace car peels in, Dyson is going to look to make the Geico restart zone work for him tonight. Will he get the jump? He does indeed. Beautiful start there from Dyson. He timed that to perfection. Very, very nice jump over the rest of the group. Everybody else was almost on the gas at exactly the same time, but Dyson just got that little pip away. He pulls up to the high line. He can just take whichever line he wants. Look at Maloney going up that high line already. Gets a huge slingshot into turn one. It's got past Foster already. Maloney looking to make the moves up towards the front of the pack here already. Martin trying to get past Foster as well. Ryan Jones on the outside of Foster now as well. So Foster's falling back a little bit here. He's got Jones on his outside right now, who is just moving in front of him. Cold tyres, remember, so watch these cars through turn two. They're going to struggle a lot. They do. Foster moves just a couple of spots down, and Jones moving up a few positions right now. See who works their tyres differently. A few drivers we saw just having a couple of slower laps for the first stint of this race managed to bring it back better after about 4 or 5 laps. The cars that went hard fast tended to drop off a little bit after those first couple of laps.
Yeah, you have to ease into the tyres, I think. We saw that in the first stint where the guys who sort of took it a bit easier early on were sort of working their way towards the front near the end of that run.
Yeah, and it seems that tended to work out better. But when you're racing, the brain is hard to sort of switch off sometimes and make go, look, I'm happy to lose a couple of spots, especially when you're up in the front of the pack. You sort of just go, well, I want to stay up here. And so that can become problematic. Some great racing going on a bit further back. Michael Skurlock making his way up to 16th position right now. He's already up to 15th, sorry. He is pushing his way up quick. So big jump up from Skurlock. Kai Turner sitting with him at the moment. They're working their way back up the field quite quickly. They want to be back up to the front of this pack.
Yeah, he's got a huge run off turn 3 there as well. Heading down to turn 1, I believe. Yep. So yeah, Skurlock's he's working his way. He's definitely fast tonight, so he'll just be patient and work his way up through the field. Bit of a crank it up there, so that's good.
I think Skurlo will just bide his time, work his way back to the front. He'll be there or thereabouts at the end of the race. He's just biding his time, I think.
Yeah, very patient driver. He's in a real interesting bunch of cars here. 2 in front, 2 behind. But, yeah, he just patiently work his way through the front while also maintaining those tyres and looking after them. I think he'll be following behind the 035 of Hideshite, just letting him open the gaps and then just following through. Just jump back up to the front, have a little bit of a look and see how we're going. So we've got Dyson in the lead and Maloney in second. And Ryan Jones there in the red, number 11, looking to make the move on Foster. Looks like he will clear him off turn 3 and get a good run down the straight. Mostly single file at the moment, although it looks like Micklemore is going to try and make the pass. Dave Douglas is going to try and make a pass on the number 10 car on the outside. Still side by side here. Dave's actually cleared. Pearson now in the number 9, looking to make a pass on the outside. I don't think Edward would make it too hard for him at this stage of the race. Still plenty of time to go, so only 27 laps out of 80 done.
I think everyone will just settle down now in this mid-stage and really turn up the heat with 30 laps to go. That's what I'd be thinking of, just nice and easy, and then turn up the wicket those last 30 laps.
Yeah, I think I'm just trying to have a little look back and see with the caution that came out and the pit stop time. So they all pitted around lap 2021. So if they were going to do that two-stop strategy, you could look at doing your next pit stop around lap 50 odd, and then that would give you a 30-lap run home. So yeah, it should be all no point saving fuel really. I think because you won't get it home without at least one stop, so you may as well split it up in half.
It's a great battle between Douglas and
Jones and
Jones.
Yeah, Rowan managed to get past Maloney, the 29, and then he's just dropped back here a little bit. So he might have had to use heat his tyres up a little bit too much to get the pass done, and that might have just hurt him a little bit. Or he could have just been testing and practicing and working out how to get the pass done and storing that for later.
I think you may be right, because Ed's getting past him fairly easy. Same with Josh. It's the same, both the Mitch cars are looking at getting past him.
Yeah, a little bit weird that one. But also as well, if you get caught on the outside of a tunnel turn, you might be losing a bit more extra speed, and that's allowing those Mitch boys' cars to catch up. As we see Jason Martin in the purple 21 looking to make a move on his teammate Josh Micklemore in the blue 31. Ruben Phelps in the 06 car just quietly working his way up through the field again. He's just in behind Jason Martin there. And Dave Douglas has made the pass for second.
Dave will sit right on the back of Dyso here and hoping that he'll make a mistake. But yeah, Dyson's been Mr. Cool the last couple of rounds.
Yep, no, he's been doing a pretty good job. It's got a lot of backwards and forwards passing in here. As Douglas is looking to go around the outside. Oh, you might be able to do it if he can hold on to it.
Douglas having a great run here. He's managed to get some speed out of the car after that pit stop and after that early stage as well. So he's moving up nicely. Another driver that's moving up the field as well is Michael Skurlock. He's managing to recover well from that earlier moment. So he's pushing up hard now as well. He's up into the top 10 now. Yeah, yep. So he's managed to get back up into the top 10. So really good recovery drive there from Skurley.
Yeah, I would say that I think Dave might have found something, and he's bound to be in the same Discord chat as Skurlock, so they might be working together a bit, and they might have found something and sharing notes, which has helped them.
Oh, you wouldn't think those two would share notes, would you? It looks like they've definitely got something working there. They've managed to get this car working very nicely. Whether it lasts until later in the stage, maybe it is just early gain for latter pain. Of course, it might start hurting them in the latter stages of the stint, but at the moment it is working and they've got track position, and that's the important thing.
Indeed, yeah, and I'll be interested to see when they look at pulling the trigger on that last pit stop, thinking that it's going to go green. Yeah.
And some good news. I just noticed we've got a car that's been dug out of the grave. Basically the knee of cars at the moment. Barry Neal in the 22 at the moment. He's managed to get back out there and is limping around 10 laps down, unfortunately, but he might be able to gain some spots. And you see up the front at the moment, Dave Douglas really trying to break the draft behind him. He's absolutely whooshing across the road. I think Neil might. No, Jake Maloney's just gone into pit lane.
Oh.
Maloney's got damage. Maloney has got damage on his car. Maloney's gone up into the wall. So Maloney has gone up into the wall in turn 3. He's just pushed a little bit too hard into turn 3, and that is his night over. He had a big snap of oversteer in the mid corner. He just got that aero wash in the mid corner, and that is the night over for the 29. Big shame there for Jake Maloney.
Yeah, let's have a look and see if we can see it on the replay.
So just catch it a little bit late there, but just going into the corner, it's just behind Dyson. I think maybe the arrows caught him out a little bit. He's gone into the corner, and all of a sudden he's had a big snap on the front end. And look at that car go up, just vaults up into there. And the front suspension is absolutely done on her. The new damage model killed the front suspension. Meanwhile, Neil Pearson making a move at the front on Andrew Dyson. Pearson getting around Dyson at the moment. Josh Micklemore trying to make a move as well. Micklemore starting to get some pace in that car too.
Yeah, Josh is up to 4th now. He's making a good strong run.
Yeah, Josh Micklemore moving up 12 positions in this race. Bad qualifying, but good race pace in that car. And indeed, really intense racing up at the top at the moment. It is full on. They are neck and neck at the moment, side by side, and all the other analogies that you can use. But they are really going for it. And a big dive there from Josh Micklemore. Beautiful move there, and he almost gets it done with Pearson as well. If he can get a good run off his corner, he might be able to make it past Pearson as well. That was a fantastic slide job there by Micklemore, getting that done perfectly. As Pearson makes a move on Douglas now.
Yeah, Josh definitely looks like he's figured something out, because it's 2 laps in a row. He's really centered in quite deep into their turn 3 there, but it's showing no signs of slipping up or anything. It's definitely working for him.
It is. Douglas is starting to fall back a little bit. I wonder if he's taken a little bit too much out of those tyres. He's got them a little bit too hot, maybe. And he's now starting to pay the price. As I said, short-term gain, long-term pain might be coming into effect here. Or he's just eased off because he wants to get some fuel saving done behind some other cars.
It's definitely very intense racing. Like, we can't really... I don't feel like we can take the camera off the top, 10 cars. I would like to have a little look at the other cars down the back of the pack, because they're racing just as hard as well. But yeah, there's every lap there's positions changing up here, and it's really good to see.
It's just as intense from pretty much from Matty Ray down to Nankervis at the moment. The racing is just as close, but we've got to keep our eyes at the front of the pack. Really, you can see from that camera angle just how close everybody is. From the big long range camera angle, you can kind of get an idea of just how close all these battle packs are. There's a couple of splits from there, but from first down to where are we? About
Justin Witcher and ninth. Yeah. Justin Witcher and ninth is the last car on that front pack, who he's just making a move now.
And then from Maddie Raymond down to Nankervis, it is all go. It looks like Ryan Jones is starting to struggle a little bit now. He's just lost a little bit of speed in that car, unfortunately. But expect him to come back a little bit later on. I wonder if Jones is just letting those tyres cool a little bit, and then he's going to get back into the race. And then we've got this huge battle pack here with Heddershide, Wellman, Norman Clark, and Ruben Phelps, I think. Kai Turner, in there as well. So, and Aiden Schultz, as well. There is a huge amount of racing going on at the moment. It's great to see.
It's almost like if you have one bad corner, that's enough to cost you. If you don't get the corner, 100% right, it's enough for the car behind you to get the run. If he gets it right and gets the momentum on you, and can set you up for the pass.
I was just looking at the battle there. Paul Jackson, Jade Saltz, and Darren Lobb and Luke Trahere. They were having a nice little battle there for a couple of laps.
Look at this pack here.
It is absolutely crazy. It's almost like it's almost super speedway style pack racing, isn't it, right now?
And then up the front, we've got them too wide as well, so I don't know where to look. We'll just keep the camera panned out so we can dart your eyes around the screen and see. But Pearson and Micklemore have kind of cleared away a little bit, so we can see there the 9 of the red 9 in the lead there, and the blue 31 in the second. So they've kind of cleared out, and then Dyson in the orange car and Douglas in the white car, and that's where the battle pack sort of begins. And Although they are spreading out a little bit, this front pack now.
Yeah, they're starting to get a little bit of movement going on at the moment. Foster and Martin are having a good battle, and Justin Witcher moving up there as well. Witcher getting past Skurlock and getting a beautiful run off the corner as
Skurlock's
Skurlock
pitting.
comes in the pit lane.
So what's that? It's 42 laps to go.
I'm wondering if he's trying to do the undercut, which unless he's brushed the wall somewhere, but I haven't seen it.
Yeah, that's I believe that the fuel tank range was 35 laps, but yeah.
Just up the front, Micklemore getting a really good run on Pearson at the moment. Micklemore right under the gurney flap at the moment, and he is really pushing it along. Loses a little bit of speed on the exit of the corner there, but he had a real close move there. A little bit further back, Foster starting to make a move on Douglas now as well. So Foster making the move on Douglas. Douglas just starting to drop back now. And just looking, Skurlock's stationary time 14.5 seconds. So he was just, it looks like fuel and tyres for Skurlock, so he's just trying for the undercut.
Yeah. So obviously he thinks maybe he can make it to the end now in 42 laps.
Yeah, he's going to try something different. Skurly's rolling the dice.
Yeah, either that or he's used up all his gear or just trying to get back up to the front and couldn't keep it going anymore. Very weird.
I wonder if we'll see some people coming into pit lane in the next 2 to 3 laps just to try and cover him off a little bit. We'll look at the speed of Skurlock as well, because that's something else to keep an eye on. Drop off on tyres is around about a second now, so they were doing best laps of about 54.3. They're now in the 55.4s. So if Skurlock can stay out there and if he can make it to the end, he could possibly get a really nice undercut right here. But of course, he will start losing speed laterally in the stint, so that's going to be a big one to watch out for. Aidan Schultz and Luke Traher at the moment, side by side, coming out the corner. Real close run here, and then just in front of them, you've got Gary Wellman and
Nigel Patton. No, I was just going to say to you, Carl and Matt, there's a great battle pack there of 4 cars. They've been like that for 2 laps now.
Yeah, they're just going side by side. They can't clear each other. And just as we look at it, they clear each other.
Yeah. Go back to watching the front. I'll keep watching these guys down here.
Well, I think the front. Oh no, it's closed up again on the front.
it has indeed. You take your eyes off there for a second, and all of a sudden, all things change. It's now a 4-car race between Pearson, Micklemore, Dyson, and Foster, and Martin is making his way up there quickly as well. So watch Jason Martin latch onto the back of these cars. He is going to try and get up there quickly as possible. Fastest car out on track, unsurprisingly, is Michael Scullock, as Micklemore makes the move on Pearson right now. Micklemore goes down the inside, the 31 makes the move here. It's like Dyson's just covering off as well, just to try and stop Foster getting freight trained through. Dyson comes down in front as well. Dyson's going to make the move here on his teammate Pearson. Side by side they go, but Micklemore is taking the lead of this race and is out front again. Really strong run again from Josh Micklemore tonight. Good to see.
Yeah, good return to form. And looking in the Facebook comments, Trev Micklemore mentioned that he didn't want to curse the 31, but Josh said that the car was crap in quali, so crap in quali, but good on the long run.
Yeah, I wonder if he strapped a rubber ducky to his race seat, and maybe that's what's making the difference.
Oh! Gary Wellman got a big cross up, and Aidan Schultz pushed him straight. Oh, sorry guys. It's a little bit further back. It was through the tunnel turn, Matt.
Yeah, we'll just watch them. They're just sort of 3 or 4 wide here, so I'll just watch them clear this and settle down a bit, and I'll just see if I can grab the replay for it.
That was a big moment there, yeah.
Yeah, that was huge, wasn't it, Carl?
Indeed.
Right, let's have a look and see if this is it. Yeah.
I think that might just be after
end of it. Yeah.
Back a little bit.
Go jump back.
This could be it here, mate.
Just a little bit of contact and looks like netcode contact, and then pushes him back to the straight as well. So he does the crime, pays the time, and then helps him out. So he's done his community service there. Gary Wellman will be just very lucky with that, but a lot of people had to check up from that, so that's broken up the pack a little bit. Wellman did a really good job of saving that car. Very well driven there, so that is good to see. And yeah, it just spins him back straight again. That sort of good good awareness from both drivers there, and very well done to get them back on line as well. Very nice job indeed.
Could probably class that as a bump and run, actually.
Yeah, extreme bump and run,
Extreme
isn't it?
bump and run.
I think that ripple strip may have helped him a little bit too once he got down on the inside of it.
They've seemed to have settled down and kept the cars straight, so that's good to see as well.
Up the front, Jason Martin makes a move on Neil Pearson. Now Martin making the move. Gets ahead of Pearson. So watch out for Martin here, moving his way up the field as well. As Dyson makes a move to the front now. He's going to try and make a move underneath Josh Micklemore right now into turn number 1. Will he make it stick? Yes, he does. Just about. Martin. Micklemore might get a better run off the corner, but Dyson has got that preferred line for the tunnel corner as well. Going to be side by side up towards turn 2 here. Will Dyson lift off a little bit? Will Micklemore manage to get ahead right now for tunnel? He does indeed. A beautiful job there from Micklemore. Gets ahead and gets through the tricky turn 2 nicely. Dyson needs to try and get a slingshot off him because he's going to be in the grasp of Foster now. Watch out for that one. As Jai Schultz comes into pit lane.
I'm thinking that the high line on turn 1 is actually running a bit better tonight. We've seen it on the restarts where the high line cars have got better than the inside line cars, and we've seen a few power moves or moves for defending position coming out of that high line on turn 1.
Yeah, it does look like that high line is working, but especially on the exit of the corner, they're able just to get a little bit more speed off there. As a little bit further back, we've got some moves position as Matty Ray makes a move on Justin Witcher. Matty Ray keeping it clean in the SRM mobile brakes mechanical repairs machine, moving his way forwards through the pack as we expect so often from Matty Ray. Although he qualified quite well tonight, so he's only gained 6 positions. So not as many positions gained as normal, but the 83 moving its way through nicely at the moment. And he could be a driver to look out for at the front as well. But meanwhile, Dyson's making another attack on Josh Micklemore here as they go through the corner. Micklemore's just having to go that slightly higher. He's lost a little bit of speed here. Foster's going to get a good run here as well as Jason Martin. Will we see cars looking at going 3 wide? They're all going to try and stick to that high line, and Dyson could be dropped down here. That high line's working very well as Foster sticks onto the back of Micklemore. Micklemore drops down to cover off Dyson through turn 1. Foster's going to make his way through, possibly to second right now. It's going to be a drag race down towards the tunnel corner as they get down towards turn 2. Who is going to make it through? It looks like Foster's got that position made right now. Martin's sitting right there as well, ready to pounce on Dyson if he makes any kind of mistake here. The racing up the front is absolutely fast and furious.
It sure is, and that high line, that high groove coming out of turn 3 is keeping the momentum, and then turn 1 as well, it's keeping the momentum. So yeah, it's pretty hard to pass on the inside at the moment.
I think it's definitely to do with the tyre condition now, and that's something that's starting to work its way into things. So we've had Kai Turner, Jai Schultz, I think Aidan Schultz maybe coming into pit lane as well, and Michael Skurlock make their second stops at the moment. Importantly for Skurlock, he has he's only 33 seconds behind the leader at the moment.
Yeah, that's right. You can do a pit stop here and stay on the lead lap if you're not too far back. As
Foster makes a move for P1 right now. Foster going in hard right now on Josh Micklemore through turn 2. Foster makes it work. Micklemore's just had to lift off, and Dyson's got the opportunity for a run now as well. These 3 have been fighting tooth and nail all race long. As now up through the outside of turn number 3, will Micklemore be able to hold it? This is the corner that can be tricky to hold on the high line. As they get very close to the mid corner, Micklemore has to lift off. He makes it, just does not touch the wall there. But that's going to give Martin the opportunity to make the move on his teammate right now. Beautiful driving from all the drivers there. got a bit tight in the mid-corner fair for Dyson. He did a great job of just not running up too high. And Micklemore just eased off enough. He knew what was coming there, not to hit the wall. Great driving from all of these up the front.
Yeah, they're doing an outstanding job of trading positions and giving each other racing room. It's definitely around that time where I'm not sure if there'd be two schools of thought. You'd either stay out as long as you can, hoping for a caution so you can pit under the caution, or you take that green flag pit stop and try and get an undercut. In terms
Well,
of
we're on
time,
29 laps of this stint. So they've done 29 laps. So the longer you go, as you know, obviously you're going to take 4 tyres. Dave Douglas coming into pit lane now as well. So you don't want to leave it too late because you're going to lose some of that time. They're going to be about 10 seconds behind Skurlock when they come in. So they're going to lose a lot of time to Michael Skurlock. They're going to be about 10 seconds behind Michael Skurlock when they come in. So they've got to make 10 seconds up, which they will do relatively quickly now that his tyres have started to plateau a bit. But it's really going to be a matter of who pits first in this top group. That could be the race-winning decision. Of course, if a caution comes out, then everything gets changed.
I think if one of these top 5 come in, they'll all will. Especially if Dyson, well, if Foster comes in, everyone else will follow him in, I think.
yeah, you'd have to cover and make the same moves that the leaders do.
Ryan Jones coming in. Ryan Jones, Norman Clark both come in. I think this will be the one that makes the leaders start thinking about pitting at least in the next lap or two, because Ryan will gain quite a lot of time out there on fresh tyres, and this could be a opportunity for him. One driver I was looking at was Matty Ray. I'd say Matty Ray would probably want to come in, a couple of laps before the leaders, because that could really give him the opportunity to get up into the top 3 even in this race. So that could be an interesting little option for him. Foster at the moment, he's got some good pace out there, but he's in the 56s. Those guys on the fresh tyres are in the 54.2s. So that gives you an idea of just how much degradation is costing him. Nobody in the front coming in this time round. Looks like everybody up the front end still sticking out a little bit longer, just in case that yellow flag flies. Because obviously if you can make a pit under caution, that's going to help you a lot.
As we see in the background there, Gary Wellman's coming into the pits now. Does a good job of pulling it up.
So if this remains green, this is going to be a fascinating race now, because obviously the longer you leave it out there, the less time you've got to make up. If you're making 2 seconds a lap, and there's a 10-second gap, you've got about 5 to 6 laps to do it in, of course. So you've just got to try and work out when is the best time to stop, and of course you just don't want to stop and then see that caution flag come out just as you're exiting pit lane, because that could really scupper your race. So I think
Justin Witch is in. Matty Ray's gone around again.
Okay, so he's sticking it out longer. This could be a really good play for Justin Witcher right now. This could be something that gains him a handful of positions, and really helps him out. And as I said, watch out for Skurlock towards the end of this race. He has got a 10-second lead over Jai Schultz, the next person to have taken a pit stop. But Skurlock is only 30 seconds behind the leaders now. So he is going to have a huge gap over this lead group. I reckon we might see some of these leaders have to start to come in just to sort of cover him off a little bit, because it's going to take a while to sort of... It could be an opportunity for Skurlock, if they come in late, for him to be in a position of opportunity. And if that yellow flag falls as well, he'll have track position too. So it could work out quite well for Skurlock latterly in this race. Meanwhile, up the front, Dyson's trying to make a move on Foster this time round. He's really starting to put the pressure on Foster. They've pulled out a nice gap from Jason Martin. They've got about a 2-second gap from Martin, Micklemore, and Pearson. Then Manny Ray running on his own at the moment in 6th position. Then you have Daniel Hederscheid sitting in with Ruben Phelps, Luke Trahair, and Darren Lobb as well. Darren Lobb doing a good job to make his way up there with Jamie Nankervis too. So the top 11 are sort of, they're a bit spread out, but it's there. Brad Fenley, Patton, Williams all come into the pit lane as well now. So everybody bar Paul Jackson has taken a stop now, the stop they need. As I think we might be seeing Foster. He's defending quite hard. No, I thought we might have seen Foster possibly peeling into pit lane. He sort of made a very hard turn as Manny Ray comes into the pit lane now.
I think those top 5 are going to run the tank dry. We're up to 34. I got told it was roughly around 35 laps for a tank of fuel, but it could be more.
As we're coming up to traffic now as well for Foster. He's going to pin Dyson up on the outside behind Brad Fenley. Dyson's going to try and use that little bit of draft on Fenley to get past. Fenley, of course, is on fresh tyres, so he will be quite a bit faster than these cars and get that position back once the tyres get up to temperature. So it's an awkward stage now because you're going to be racing lapped cars. So that can be a position that is not always the best position to be in.
No.
Matty Ray's out. He's taken 4 tyres and fuel.
Yeah, and that's dropped Matty Ray back to 20th position, just behind Justin Witcher. So Witcher gained that position on Matty Ray. Witcher was behind Matty Ray beforehand. So that's just that advantage of the fresh tyres. But of course, Matty Ray's going to have much fresher tyres now coming towards the end of the race. So he might be able to make up that gap. Paul Jackson coming into pit lane. Yeah. So Jackson is next to stop. So this is getting to the point where they're starting to run off the sniff of an oily rag for the engines. They are very much low on fuel.
Tough position for the 20 car Finley to be in here. Finley to be here because he's got fresh tyres, so he's going to be quicker than these 2 lead cars. But you also don't want to interfere with their battle or cause any issues for them. So yeah, it's a tough spot to be in for him.
Yeah,
unfortunately,
it's
yeah, I think unfortunately he's just going to have to ride behind them, and which means he's going to lose the advantage of his fresh tyres.
Martin and Mickle were both in pit lane. So that's important for those two. They're going to want to try and get out with each other so that they can work with each other and sort of help with a little bit of drafting. Daniel Hederscheid, Jamie Nankervis are also coming in pit lane. So they've decided to come in and make that stop together. And that could be a good strategy because they can sort of work with each other a little bit and get that draft working.
And 36 laps they did on that run. So this next run for them will be 23 laps. So we'll keep an eye on Foster and Dyson here and see if they peel off into the pit lane.
Dyson makes a move now on Foster, going down the inside right now, and I think Foster's going to look at coming into pit lane, gets very close to Fenley. He got blocked off by Fenley. There, hopefully Foster's got enough fuel to make it around another lap, and I think he might do because Pearson's sticking it out.
Pearson pitted?
Pearson's stuck it out, so Pearson's out there as well. Ruben Phelps and Darren Lobb, they've all not made a pit stop yet. So those guys have stuck it out a lot longer, but I reckon they're going to be very low on fuel, so they are really taking a risk right now.
Yeah, it's not an ideal situation, but they're managing it. As I think
Paul Jackson.
Yeah, it's going to let the 2-3-1 past. I think he really needs to pit this lap, so he's just letting the cars that are close around him pass.
And it's going to be Michael Skerlock in the lead once all these pit stops have shaken out, I believe. So
Foster and Pearson into the pits.
Yeah. I think we're going to see everybody else coming into pit lane now. I think they are very much running out of fuel. We'll see who did the best fuel saving if they've managed it, and that's nobody. So Michael Skerlock will take the lead of the race now. He has got a 4 second advantage over Ryan Jones at the moment, but he is losing time quite quickly. So, as I said, Ryan Jones was the one to watch out for in those stops earlier on.
Bad stop there for Foster. He overran the pit bay a little bit and had to reverse up.
Oh, he's going to be kicking himself for that one. Of course, the one thing, they can take a little bit less fuel, so there's that sort of aspect to it. So it might not have hurt him as much as it would have done in a full pit stop, but he comes out behind Pearson. Not too much of a gap, so it wasn't a big loss there for Foster. He just comes out in front of his teammate Daniel Hederscheid there. So Foster in front of Hederscheid right now, but he's got to get those tyres up to temperature and then start working his way up there. But in the lead of this race now is Michael Skurlock, coming in for that early stop now. He has got a 3.2 second lead over Ryan Jones. Said watch out for Ryan coming in on that early stop there. That paid off nicely. Dave Douglas in third, Aidan Schultz fourth, Jai Schultz in fifth. So we've got a Schultz in fourth and fifth at the moment, with Justin Witcher in sixth. Andrew Dyson comes out seventh. Kai Turner is currently in eighth. Ninth is Norman Clark, and 10th is Matty Ray.
We're seeing the undercut in full effect there. All of these cars that are running in the top six, all the ones that have pitted earlier, and especially top five. Joe Schultz has pitted 15 laps ago.
Yeah, the big one for me is Skurlock. We've got 20 laps remaining. He stopped 21 laps ago, so he's not going to make it home on fuel. So he is hoping for a caution to come out, so he can come in and get track position in the caution period. So Skurlock was trying to roll the dice a little bit, and he's going to be praying for a caution in probably the next 10 laps, I'd say.
Yeah, he definitely needs it. I can't see him making it on the fuel numbers when he pitted. It was just a real roll of the dice, and hopefully there was a caution for him.
If he can pull that fuel out of the bag, then we'll have to do some post-race checks and some cavity searches on Skurlock just to see where he's storing it.
Might be running an extra long fuel line.
That's it. He's running an extra long fuel line the length of the track. But no, it's one of those strategies that can pay off sometimes. But at the moment, it's not doing so. You can see how quickly Ryan Jones is catching. Jones is absolutely hammering along at the moment, a good couple of seconds lap faster, and he's going to take the lead of the race. So Ryan Jones takes the lead of the race. Michael Skurlock just easily lets him through there, doesn't fight too much, and actually comes into pit lane. So Skurlock has decided to pit now. So rather than stick it out there, he might have only taken a short amount of fuel as well. Maybe he took a bit less fuel, just seeing what could happen. But he knew his race was run after how quickly Ryan Jones was catching him about a good 2 seconds a lap. So Skurlock decided to come in for a third stop. Meanwhile, big battle for Micklemore at the moment. He's at the head of the field with Jason Martin just behind him. Then Kai Turner, Neil Pearson, and Edward Foster. So this is the battle that was at the front of the pack, and they are now racing for position. Foster is right up next to Pearson once more. So Foster has made that mistake in pit lane, not cost him too much time, thankfully, and he's got back into the battle. But they have a lot of cars to get through now to get back up to the top, but they have got a lot more pace than those drivers ahead of them. They're lapping at a good second a lap faster than the drivers ahead of them. I think that might have been Jai Schultz coming into pit lane. So Jai Schultz coming into pit lane, only 18 laps into that stint with Kai Turner as well. So interesting to see this.
I think he might have been short on fuel as well. I think he might have pitted not long after Skurlock did. So
he had he'd stopped 18 laps ago, so he would have been a little bit short on fuel. So I guess he's just trying to make the best out of a bad situation now, and at least where they are, they won't have lost they shouldn't lose a lap, I think. So they should get back out on the lead lap. So they're just trying to see what they can make work right now. Meanwhile, Dave Douglas gets passed by Andrew Dyson. Dyson is on an absolute flyer now. As Norman Clark there just maybe got a little bit of contact from Neil Pearson, was it? A little bit of side door-to-door contact maybe, as they were free wide in the corner. It was Martin on the inside, Pearson in the middle, and no contact, but very close to it. They were real close there as they got past. Neil Pearson now gets a good run on Jason Martin. Of course, these guys on one lap fresher tyres. So Pearson and Foster have got a slight fresher set of tyres. Not by much, but it can be enough to make a difference. Actually, 2 laps difference. So they've got much fresher tyres, and that could really help them out here. And this just shows the sort of, you pay a little bit of a price for the undercut sometimes.
Yeah, good pass there by Foster. Martin's looking at coming back. They want to try and not battle too much and distract themselves because they are about 5 seconds down the road from Dyson, so they really need to sort of not battle too much together and single line it and get fast and use the draft and try and get back up to the front there.
Douglas for third position, which are moving up into third now. So he's going to try and see what he can do. Right now, Dave Douglas, one of the earliest stoppers. This is what we love about green flag racing, is when you get mix of strategies like this, it really changes things up through the field. As a caution comes out, we've got a caution. This has absolutely changed the race complexion. As it looks like maybe Gary Wellman has had a moment. Gary Wellman and Brad... big contact between Gary Wellman, Luke Trahair, and Nigel Patton. So those 3 getting through each other in turn 1, and Trahair's tried to get through. Wellman's caught the wall, and then there's been a huge stack as they go swimming around. Ruben Phelps sneaks it through. I'd say watch that from Ruben Phelps' position if you can. On board Ruben Phelps is the best one to watch that from.
Yeah, I hope my sound's going out. I've just had a little bit of sound issues here, so we'll just have a look at this replay and see if we can work out what's going on, and then I will look at trying to fix the sound issues. Just see if we can find here. Oh, they've sort of squeezed 3 wide. Is that the cause of the caution? Gary's gone into the wall, bounced back out into the 43 car.
Yeah, big accident there. And that is really, that's changed the complexion of this race. And this is, it worked out horribly for people like Schultz and Skurlock. If they'd stayed out a little bit longer, they would have had some good track position. But will they stick it out on those slightly older tyres? They've only come in a few laps ago. But watching Ruben Phelps there, he just absolutely avoided that. Was it Ruben or was it? Yeah, it was Ruben, sorry. He just absolutely got through that very well. But yeah, that was a scary, scary accident there for all involved.
Yeah, just start the race a little bit harder at the end of the race. A little bit less room. I'll jump back live and just see if I can work on the sound.
Yeah, if you just want to jump on board somebody.
Yeah, let's see if we can jump on.
Audio levels sound okay for our voices. So I'm just listening away.
There's just no in-sim audio, so I'll just see if I can quickly have a look at that. And
the joy of problems. It's always fun.
yeah. Looks like the sound might have changed. There we are.
Okay, beautiful. Okay, so this has changed things up an enormous amount. So, Martin and Micklemore sticking out. So Jason Martin and Josh Micklemore did not come into pit lane. They've done 10 laps on those tyres. So they decided not to pit. Ruben Phelps decided not to pit. Everybody else has technically. So Jai Schultz decided to stick it out. He's only done 4 laps on those tyres. Edward Foster is your leader on freshest tyres. So Edward Foster up in the front with the fresh set of tyres. He only took 2 sets by the looks of things. So Foster decided to take rights only. Just going back to have a look at that pit stop. So it looks like he's only taken the right side only, and that's jumped him ahead of the rest of the pack. So Foster rolling the dice. We've got a whole heap of different strategies right now across the field.
So we like to see a good mix of tyre strategies up through the field. It's going to be a whole mix of action.
So Jamie Nankervis only taking 2 sets of tyres, as well as Norman Clark. So those guys just taking the 2. Tristan Koch only taking 2 sets of tyres by the looks of things. So this is really going to change up the order. How will Micklemore and Martin run off? They're going to have slightly warmer tyres at the start of this stint, same as Phelps and Jai Schultz. So their tyres will be up to temperature much quicker. Watch out for Jai Schultz. He could be in a good position here. He's going to have the freshest tyres up the front of the field, while the rest of the cars get their tyre temperatures up to the working conditions. Foster, of course, is going to have 1 set of nice fresh tyres and then 1 set of slightly older tyres as well. Only done about 6 laps though, so it's not that much difference. But sometimes that can throw you out a little bit, of course, because you get one side that's nice and sticky and one side that's a little bit cold and not wanting to work, so it can cause a little bit of understeer issue through the corners. So sometimes that can cost you a little bit of time, but this is anyone's race, really, isn't it?
It is, yeah, and I think we're going to see cautions, breeding cautions again. Almost 10 laps to go. It's going to be less space given, a bit more bumping, I think. So we may not have seen the last caution of the night.
We can hope, but I very much doubt it.
No, well, I would expect the aggression levels to be ramped up now. You don't have time to make up positions. You've got to get them all now.
Indeed, as the pace car drops in and we get ready for the restart zone, it is Josh Micklemore leading the way. He drops the throttle nice and early, gets away nicely, and Micklemore gets a good start there. Matty Ray gets a nice start a little bit further down the pack. Micklemore moves up high. Ruben Phelps sitting in the middle. Jai Schultz dropping down to cover that midsection. It is Jai Schultz making a move on Jason Mine at the moment. He makes a nice move. Foster in the middle, 3 wide at the moment. Ruben Phelps, Foster and Dyson 3 wide as they go through the corner. Foster just manages to edge it out in front of Dyson. Foster getting ahead of Dyson. Importantly, though, gets ahead of Phelps as well. And moves down to get ahead of Jai Schultz as well. That is a big, big moment there. He just slides down in front of him. He's going to slide up a little bit now, and that's those slightly fresher tyres. Oh, big snap there. That was not a block, intentional slide down block. I think that was more the car snapping. As we get a car going around, it's Luke Trahair spinning in the mid corner. Big accident at the back, and it brings out the caution flag.
Wow. I told you it wasn't going to be the last caution. The intensity has definitely ramped up. Let's jump back and have a look and see what's happened here.
So contact between Stevie Dubb and Luke Trahair there, just going into the corner, and just I think Steve's just caught the back end of Luke and just goes around, and Luke spins it around, almost catches, I think it was Pan, very close to being a big accident. Luckily, not too much damage for Luke. He sort of got away with that relatively scot-free, considering that it's a big looking crash, but he managed to avoid everybody out on track. That was a lucky one, in all honesty.
Yeah, it's pretty crazy. They're 2 or 3 wide.
Great job of avoidance by people as well. So really, really good job of avoidance by the rest of the pack there. So it looks like maybe Steve Dell's just gone down a little bit and just caught the back end of Luke through the mid corner. I think it's a little bit further on, just down towards turn 2, I think, maybe. And he just gets underneath him. Just catches the back end of the 43. There we go. Spins him up and around. And that is Luke going around. And luckily, Luke manages to slam on the brakes and just does some cadence lock braking. Hard to do over grass, of course. And then you see Nigel Patton just so nearly get wiped out there. But great job by everybody to avoid that accident. And you can see cars in the background slowing down as they saw the smoke coming up. I think it was Michael Skurlock there, just slamming on the brakes,
He was lucky
saving the
that it
back
come
car.
back. Lucky it came back up the track and not continued on to the inside fence.
Yeah, he got very lucky for that not to be a bigger accident. And very lucky for everybody to avoid it, really. Jane Russell in... Oh, sorry, that case. Of course, he's in pit lane. But he's coming out of pit lane. So J. Russ is repaired, and he's coming back to the track to just
Yeah,
get a little bit more running in.
I should have mentioned that a little bit earlier. That yeah, he has been out for a while now running laps. He's only showing 24 laps down now. But yeah, he has been out there and running around. His car looks pretty good. They've done a good rebuild job on it.
They have. They've done some great work rebuilding that car. Michael Skurlock gets a lucky dog right now, so he is going to be absolutely fanging it around and going to get a good lap pace with Skurlock at the moment. So, as you said, cautions breeding cautions. It's the typical thing.
And I think that was a great example of that caution, because what we saw there was Luke put in possibly, you know, like an aggressive move, aggressive slide job. And I mean, earlier in the race, Steve might have backed out of it a bit more and given him a bit more room, but we're at the time of the race where it's everybody, you got to go for it. So you probably don't give as much as what you could earlier in the race for that, and that's just unfortunately caught them out, I think. But yeah, and I think that's just because we're in the last 10 laps or so, so it's just how it is now.
Yeah, you're going to get some hard racing, and this is going to really chop things up. But this helps out people like Micklemore and Martin on those slightly older tyres. Of course, it's sort of going to help reduce the effect, I'd say, of their tyre differential. They're about 10 laps older than the rest of the field, but everybody's going to start plateauing a little bit, so this could be good news for them. They've managed to keep it out in first and second place as well, the Mitch boys, so it'll be interesting to see how it goes for those two cars.
Yeah, they should be able to work together in time to start, but with the new restart zone, I don't know how big of an impact that'll be.
No, and then that's one of the things. The restart zone's really brought a different sort of a different style to that sort of aspect of the racing. It's been great to see. It's nice that it's been implemented, and it has helped the restarts an enormous amount. There's no more. You don't have as much time to really build up a big run, and it has really improved the restarts a little bit. So that's nice to see from everybody.
Indeed. I'm just looking at the temperature. The temperature has come down. So the track temperature was 40 degrees when we started. It's come down to 36.
A chilly 36 degrees, eh?
As we're getting ready to go back to green flag racing.
And a big shout out to anyone over in the UK at the moment. It is very hot over there. It's about 36 degrees in Middle England at the moment, which is very hot for that part of the world. It is not nice because it feels a lot hotter because those houses are basically built to keep cool, to keep warm. And when it gets hot over there, it gets very hot indeed. So keep yourself safe, keep yourself cool, and big shout out to everybody over in the UK at the moment. And look after yourselves.
So we've been asked to pick a winner. In the chat, we've been asked to pick a winner. Oh, who do you think?
Who do they want us to curse? That's the question. Now, who do they want to lose this race?
Who do you want to not win? And we'll pick them.
I plead the
fifth.
But I'm going to go for Michael Skurlock, the win. I'm going to go for Skirley.
It's a big wild card. He's got to come all the way from the back. He's got to Bradbury it.
It wouldn't be the first time.
And they're off.
As we get underway again. Oh, bit of a poor restart for Micklemore that time round. It looked like he bogged down a little bit. Did not help him up, and there's a bit of a check-up behind, actually. That really changed things up on that restart. Looks like Ryan Jones is going racy on the bottom line now. Down underneath Daniel Hederscheid. Up top, Jai Schultz at the moment. Looks like Foster is starting to make moves. Remember, he's only on 2 fresh sets of tyres. A little bit of contact with corner. There's Martin into the wall. Big accident at the front. And that has taken out pretty much every car other than the top 10.
Oh, that's pretty messy. It's still going on. Boys are pretty frustrated by the looks of it.
Yeah, that accident's going to
Oh,
be going on
look at that Jason
until
Martin
next
car. I
week.
can't even look at that wheel. It's got a bit too much toe in. If we can look at the left front of that car, it's
Yeah,
got a bit too much toe in.
the new damage model is definitely showing up there. From that, there was sort of almost a double accident moment, but Dyson got really high up there, and I think what actually happened in that accident is Martin just could not get the car to stick on that low line, and he's just run up into Schultz. So he's just not been able to keep the car down there. He's been turning as hard as he could to the left, and that car has just run out of adhesion. Up he goes, big accident, and then a huge checkup behind him, and then every car in the field pretty much got caught up in that accident. And I think that is pretty much the end of the race for most of the cars. Pick for the win, though. Michael Skurlock managed to pick his way through nicely there and not got any damage. So Skurlock managing to avoid the commentator's curse. Doesn't look like he will, but he just manages to sneak it through there.
Let me see if
The
I can get
golf car on screen.
Let me see if I can get a better view of that. Just got to do something here just quickly.
Defensive driving there from Skurlock. It was.
So let's have a look at this. Let's try and zoom it in a bit. So the contact initiates from out of that corner. Schultz gets into Martin. So we'll have a look at that and slow it right down. So there were 3 wide, and then the green car on the outside has come down. Maybe I think they've just run out of room. They've just been fighting in the same space, really, and that's unfortunately turned Martin into the wall. And then everybody else behind just has nowhere to go. Dave Douglas straight into it. Neil Pearson's checking up out of it.
And there was a whole heap of cars that got caught up in that in the behind as well. You can see Stevie Dubb, Norman Clark there.
Darren Lobb got collected. Yeah, it's pretty messy. Pretty unfortunate there.
And as I say, the mustachioed car of Mr. Michael Scott just picks his way nice and cleanly through that all. So somehow makes it through. But yeah, a lot of cars out in that wreck. That is unfortunate, and a lot of damaged cars as well. So that's going to really hurt a lot of the field. That is really going to cost them tonight.
Yeah, it's going to be a bad finish for some people who were having good, strong runs, unfortunately.
So yeah, that's really knocked out a lot of drivers. So that has changed things up a lot, and that's reduced the laps as well. So that is it's really going to reduce the lap counts as well. So this could help some people out right now. Mainly I'd say Josh Micklemore. He's on the oldest tyres on the field at the moment. So his tyres have done almost 19 laps now, whereas the rest have done around about 13 to 9 laps. So he is on some very old tyres. Jai Schultz has got the second set of oldest tyres on 13 laps. Foster, of course, he only took the right tyres, so he's got a nice new set of right tyres and then a slightly older left set. Dyson is the first car on fresh tyres all the way around. Ryan Jones in 5th, and Daniel Heddershire, Dave Douglas, Maddie Ray, Justin Witcher, and Neil Pearson in 10th at the moment. But there are a few cars out there that are looking a little bit worse for wear, unfortunately. There's quite a few damaged vehicles out there now, and quite a few of the front runners that we saw, and fast cars are unfortunately out for the night.
Yeah, let's look through here. Aiden Schultz is out, Kai Turner is out, Norman Clark, that's got a busted right front wheel. Ruben Phelps has been in the pits for a while. Jason Martin. Gary Wellman is back out there now. Darren Lobb's still going around.
A few walking wounded out there, getting their cars out just to try and score a couple of points, I think. But there's definitely some second-hand vehicles out there tonight.
And the rate it's going, Josh is he's not out of it. If he keeps getting these good starts and they keep going under caution without completing a lap.
I wonder how much of that was caused because the last time round, Josh actually got quite a poor start. He bogged down a little bit, and it caused Jason to have to lift off a little bit and sort of bunch the cars up a little bit behind him. So I wonder how much of that was caused because of that slightly poor start.
It could have been, yeah. That allowed Jay to get a good run and get on that outside.
Yeah. So hopefully this will be a much cleaner start for Josh, and it can, this is the trouble as well because he's on such old tyres compared to the rest of the field. Is you get a little bit more wheel spin, you get a little bit more issue in the corners and stuff like that. So I think Foster's going to want to try and get past him as quick as possible right now and try and build a lead. But of course, Josh is not going to be looking at letting that happen. He wants to get this victory tonight. As we get ready to go to green, they get into the restart zone. When is he going to drop the pedal? Drops it now. Much better start there for Micklemore as they all have to just check up a little bit behind him. Good start though for Micklemore. The high line just drops back a little bit. As you can see, Joe Schultz getting a good run. Ryan Jones down the inside there, 3 wide into the first corner again. Foster gets a beautiful run on the high line. He is going to try and stick it up there. He just needs to stick it there and hold it there. Looks like Ryan Jones has got a fantastic run on the inside. Gets a little bit tail happy there, but gets out the corner nicely. Foster is currently in front of him though. They're going to look at a bit of a battle into turn 2, and this is where it can all go very wrong very quickly. Turn 2 is notorious for how rough it can be. Will we make it through cleanly? Oh, contact between Dave Douglas and a car goes round. We're going to have a caution flag out again.
Stevie Dub looks like there's the green and black car.
Yeah, Gary Wellman and Stevie Dub, I think. So it looks like there was contact between Dave Douglas and Maddie Ray there. So contact between Maddie Ray and Dave Douglas, and that sort of spun them down. They've managed to hold the cars in a straight line, but then unfortunately the 8 of was that Ruben Phelps, I think, or was that
Jamie
Nankervis, sorry. Jamie's spun around as he's had to slam on the brakes, and Luke Trahare's just got underneath him, and then gone up into Skurlock, and Stevie Dub was the other car to drop out of there. Not as much damage through the field. Quite a few cars got lucky in that one. Unfortunately, Jamie Nankervis was not one of them. His race is run.
As we're just looking at the replay here. Oh yeah, it did happen up ahead, and then they sort of checked up, and yeah. Oh,
it was more of a result of the checkup than anything else.
Yeah, unfortunately, Stevie Dub's checked up and been run over by his teammate, so it's very unfortunate for him. So we just see. I'll just go back here. So just keep your eye on that number 10. They're racing 3-4 wide. That's so aggressive that these cautions are not surprising. There's just so much going on.
That's it, and it's just that little bit of contact, and they managed to keep the cars straight, those two, but then the checkup behind them is where the wreck occurs.
And that checking up
has taken out Stevie Dub and Jamie Nankervis. Those two are going to be very much out of this race with probably suspension or engine damage. I'd say a bit of a mixture of both, and as we said a few races ago, the new damage models for the cars, that changes things up. We're going to go for a green-white checker for the restart here. So if you're unfamiliar with how those ones work, it means that the restart effectively, we get a restart now, so we're going into overtime. So we go around for a green lap. The white flag, as soon as if that comes out, if we don't get a wreck on that first lap, if that white flag comes out, then we race to the end. If we get a caution on that restart, if we get a caution before the white flag, then the race is effectively over. We don't race to the end, and then we just follow the pace car. But if we get to the white flag, then there are no more cautions. It is a pure race to the end, and it will be, I'd say, it will be pretty racy up to that final flag, because these boys are getting very, very aggressive now.
Yeah, it's going to be 3, 4, maybe even 5 cars wide heading into turn 1, turn 2. The question is, can Micklemore stay out in front long enough before that caution comes out? Or do we get 2 clean laps for the green white checker? I can't see 2 clean laps coming, but you never know.
What do you reckon, Mark?
Not a hope in hell. With those guys up there, those front four, there's no way in the world I can see them not trying to push each other.
It's very rare that I'm the optimistic one in the bunch, but I'm going to go for we make it to the checkered flag. Not because I want an early night. No, I want I want that caution to come out, but no, I reckon we might get to the end, but we'll see how it goes. But yeah, the racing is getting very hard now. These boys all want this victory, and it's the thing of just getting that win underneath your belt. Of course, you've got people in the chase who really want to get those points, and especially a bit further down, they need those points to stay in with a chance. You've got people up there like Daniel Hederscheid, who, if he could win this race, he's going to help himself move up a little bit. He could even get himself into the chase. But a lot of drivers that are in that position where they could lose out of the chase now. So it's all important for championship positions, but race drivers don't generally think about that sort of thing. They think about the actual race they're in, and they want to go for that victory. So last lap behind the pace car here. It's going to be Micklemore in the lead with Foster on the outside. Jones behind with Andrew Dyson. Watch out for those two cars. Jai Schultz, Daniel Hederscheid, Neil Pearson, Justin Witcher, Matty Ray, Dave Douglas, Nigel Patton Jackson, Trehair, Skurlock, Wellman, Lobb, Fenley and Koch, the final car on the lead lap.
I just saw in the background there was a purple car back out there, so Jason Martin has got the car running again. He's jumped onto the back of the pack, but he is 5 laps down.
And Ruben Peltz managed to get it back out there as well, so it's just a thing of getting the car across the line, of course. It's a much better feeling when you can finish a race out on the track rather than in pit lane.
Alright, so they're heading into turn 3 now.
So it's an important restart here for Josh Micklemore in the 31. The 53 on the outside has got to pick this right as well. Last time round he got checked up a little bit. He's just got to try not to estimate too early here as they get ready for the restart. Getting to the end of the zone. Nice start again from Micklemore. He gets away nice and smoothly here. Foster gets a much better restart this time round. Dave Douglas moves up quite early just as they cross the line. Foster's going to drop down behind Micklemore. Micklemore moves up. Foster's trying to defend and attack at the same time. Meanwhile, Dyson has got that high line. He goes in nice and wide there. Ryan Jones on the inside at the moment. Dyson gets a good run on the exit there. Up against the wall. Dyson hits the wall. Big hit to the wall for Dyson. Foster gets a nice run. Foster's trying to get up into the lead. He's going to try for the high line through turn 2. They are 4-5 wide behind them. Foster and Micklemore making a move. Micklemore runs up a little bit high to try and cause Foster to ease out of that one. Foster sticks in there. There's contact between Foster and Micklemore as Micklemore tries to get up there. Foster manages to get past. Foster gets just ahead at the moment. Foster gets into the lead there against Micklemore as they get round for the lap. Will we get that white flag lap coming out? I think we will. Ladies and gentlemen, the white flag is out. Foster in the lead ahead of Micklemore at the moment. Just behind him is Ryan Jones with Neil Pearson just there. Watch out for Daniel Hederscheid. Does contact again. Foster just gets that little bit of contact. Foster holds the car, but he's going to run up high. He's going to lose a lot of positions here. Foster manages to save it, but Micklemore in the lead right now. It is Micklemore leading against Ryan Jones. Ryan Jones getting a good run here. Look at the DPR cars of Dyson and Pearson sitting in behind him. Jones tries to dive down to the inside. Micklemore's not having any of it at the moment. Micklemore is defending hard. Jones gets a good run. He goes for the outside, goes for the inside. That's a big bit of a wreck going on behind. They managed to keep it on the field. Jones is really trying to get this run here, but Micklemore is defending as hard as humanly possible. Micklemore loses a bit of speed on the mid-corner. Dyson goes around. Dyson loses the car, as does Jones. Jones gets bounced back out. This could be a good run for Hederscheid as they cross the line. It is Josh Micklemore, Neil Pearson and Daniel Hederscheid, the top 3 in the race.
Oh, wow. Now that was a pretty intense 2 laps there. There's cars still wrecking in the background. Wow. Your top three ended up being Josh Micklemore, Neil Pearson, and Dave Douglas. That was your top three, but man, there was a lot of action going on in there. Great call there, Carl. That was pretty crazy.
Yeah, I was looking at my time screen. It took a couple of moments for the iRacing to flick over, but yeah, Dave Douglas up there in third. There we go. It was so close. No, Daniel Hedderscheid. It's Daniel Hedderscheid in third.
Oh, third.
Dave
Okay.
Douglas.
Oh, okay. Yep.
Yep. Dave
Timing
Douglas.
data didn't
Dave Douglas
update.
dropped down. So Dave Douglas must have got a penalty. So
Oh.
Douglas got a penalty. I reckon he got
Yep.
contact penalty. So I reckon that is what was caused it, and I reckon he got that when he caught the back of Dyson when he was spinning, and a whole heap of cars ended up in pit lane. Ryan Jones came home in fourth with that one. So let's run through the top 10 real quick. So Josh Micklemore taking the win, Neil Pearson second, Daniel Hedderscheid in third, Ryan Jones in fourth, Jai Schultz coming home a strong fifth position, Matty Ray in sixth, seventh for Foster, eighth for Skurlock. He almost made it there for the win. Justin Witcher in ninth, and Darren Lobb in 10th.
And just continuing on from there, 11th was Paul Jackson, 12th Tristan Koch, followed by Brad Finley in 13th, Nigel Patton 14th, and Dave Douglas 15th, Andrew Dyson in 17th. We've got a few errors in the timing data there. I think with just so much going on at the end there that it's sort of thrown that all out. So I'll just fade that out and just have a little look at Josh doing burnouts. There's Josh Micklemore doing celebration of burnouts. Let's see if we can jump back and have a look at these laps.
Yeah, towards the back of the field, I think, is
Cars,
a lot of
yeah.
cars ended up in pit lane as well. So they sort of got caught up going into pit lane, and I think that's what's caused the issue with the timing data, because the crash sort of caused them to go down there. But that was a furious last couple of laps. Dave Douglas dropped down to 15th position, unfortunately, I reckon, from that penalty. Andrew Dyson, Luke Trehare, Gary Wellman, Ruben Phelps, Stephen Williams, Jamie Nankervis, Jason Martin, Norman Clark, Barry Neal, Aidan Schultz, Kai Turner, Jaden Russell, Tom Pritchard, Jake Maloney, and Mirko Dortnack are the final ones. But yeah, this is the actual battle going on right now. And
So
as you can see it.
Yeah, this is that near the back there on that last 2-lap run. And you can just see there's just 2-3 cars wide, a bumping and banging, and let's see if we. I'll go back and have a look at that finish there, but you can see there they just kept the jandle in it. But if we, yeah, let's have a look at this as well. So this was the last corner, turn 3. So Jones went into the inside, trying to just move Micklemore up maybe, and then Dyson was doing the same thing on Jones.
Yeah, that ripple strip tripped up Dyson.
Tell you what, driver that's going to be needing some ice packs is Luke Trehare. He had a big hit on the big hit into Dyson and then into those unforgiving yellow barriers, and he lost most of his car. So yeah, that was a big one. You see Dyson just going around there, and then Trehare into the side of him, Stevie Dub there, and then bam! Those two cars are those chassis are done. So
I definitely want to see that in real life. That's for sure.
No, let's look at that Luke Trehare one again, because that was pretty impressive.
Nowhere to go. Stevie Dub as well, I think it was. No, sorry, Gary Wellman, sorry. Was caught up in that, but yeah.
Front is gone.
I think that would have put the motor back next to the driver.
All right.
Yeah.
Have we got
It's
anybody
now a
in the green
mid-engine
room?
car.
And Daniel H is there. Josh is there.
All right. Do we want to pull up
I'll let you guys conduct the interviews tonight.
So who were we at third?
Daniel Hedeshide. Should we pull him up into the room? And
Yep. All right, we're joined here in the broadcast booth by none other than Daniel Hedeshield, third place, mate. Congratulations.
Yeah, what a end to that race. The heart rate's still going a bit. I'm quite shocked to pull off the podium there.
Mate, you got to be happy. You were thereabouts most of the race, just playing it safe, and yeah, you've come through at the end.
Yeah, I knew I had a bit of hard work to do with the end of the line penalty to start the race and sort of just played it safe, kept it calm, tried to look after the tyres a bit. Then I think I was on a pretty good strategy following Ed and the Mitch boys, and then that caution came out, which stuffed it a little bit, so I had to do a bit more work. Took 2 tyres in the pit stop, which seemed to work half decently for those last 10 laps, and yeah, I was there when I needed to be.
Yeah, definitely. How did you find the tyre? Like, we raced here the other week, and we found the right front burning off very quick. Did you find that tonight?
Oh yeah, definitely. The right front was the main concern all night, just trying to moderate how much you use in the tyre. I mean, we could have had a lot more pace, but at the end of the stint, you'd be too slow with no front right there.
Yeah, definitely. At that last restart where the green white checker, was there any team orders between you and Ed and Josh to work against the DPR boys, or was it all a free for all?
Well, I mean, Ed was probably 2 or 3 cars in front of me, so it would have taken a bit of luck for me to get onto his back bumper. And I mean, he got unlucky getting clipped there at the end. He was racing for the win. I was racing just to have a steady top 5. But yeah, I mean, if I caught him, we would have raced, but we didn't get that far.
Yeah, definitely. Well, Pocono's definitely turned it on again for us this week. Before we let you go, mate, Matt, you got anything to say?
no, you're right. No, you're good.
All right, Daniel, love to sponsors and support us, mate.
Yeah, just a shout out to Fully Flawed and AJD Services and the boys at Natari. That was a really good race from all. Racing was pretty clean. I mean, there was a few incidents, but there's always going to be. And yeah, you guys for putting the broadcast on. It's always good to watch back. And yeah, be back for next week.
Yeah, definitely back for next week. It's definitely heating up towards the rear end of the season. So congratulations again, mate, on third place, and hopefully we're talking to you again real soon.
Yeah, cheers, guys. It's been far too long.
Yeah. All right, I'll let you sort the room out, Matt.
Oh, yep. It's all right. Just got to expand my window here, and so I can do my drag and drop. Need to make my screen bigger. All right, we'll just grab Neil Pearson now. Here's Neil now.
Hey Neil, welcome to the commentary booth, mate. Congratulations on second place.
Yeah, thanks very much.
Some tough battles there through the race. Yeah, some very tough battles between you guys.
Yeah, it was pretty intense the whole race. I struggled a little bit tonight with the car. I wasn't entirely comfortable. But yeah, I'm happy to come away with second. I got really lucky at the end with pretty much cars going everywhere on that last lap, and I managed to sneak through.
Yeah, there's a few incidents all the way through. It was a tough race right through the field tonight. No matter where you looked, whether it was up the front with you boys or down the back, there was some tough racing. Pocono seems to bring that out in these cars.
Yeah, it's because it's very draft dependent, so you can mess up the corner a little bit and just come straight back with the draft down the straight. So it's these, you get massive runs. You set up the corner and just get a massive run on someone, and then have a dip into the corner. It's just the way the track is. It's something different to what we usually go to, so it's good.
Yeah, definitely, and it doesn't take much to get you sideways. You've only got to get a bit of an aero wash or a slight touch, and you can pay big time for it here.
Yeah, that is true. Or even if you just get on the throttle just a little bit too early and just understeer up into the fence, it's all about being on line perfect every lap.
Yeah, definitely. How do you find your tyre wear? Like a lot of guys are saying that it's definitely that right front that's taken out. How do you find your tyres tonight? Was it wear or was it just the heat?
It was wear for me. Like I said, I hadn't quite figured it out the track, so yeah, it's just wear. Like from what Daiso was telling me, his wear off, mine was a lot worse. But to be fair though, that does seem to be the difference between me and him. He's a lot better on that front right.
Yeah, definitely. Well, mate, congratulations on second place. Shout out to sponsors and supporters.
Yeah, you guys for the broadcast as always, and ANZCAR for the series. Simrigs.com, Southwell Lifts and Hoists, Max Mechanical, Phoenix Smokers, MP Designs, and just all of my teammates for the fun racing and yeah, all the banter throughout the race. It's good fun.
Yeah, definitely, mate. Next week we're back, and hopefully we're talking to you again next week. And congratulations on second place again, mate.
Yeah, I got very lucky at the end, so I was looking at like fifth or sixth, and yeah, luckily some stuff happened and got my way through to second.
Mate, you were there or thereabouts, and that's all it's got to be. You've just got to be there at the end. So,
That's
yeah.
it.
All right, mate. Thanks for your time. We'll let you get back down into some more fun and banter post race, and hopefully we're talking to you again real soon.
Yeah, hopefully.
All right, mate. Thanks very much for your time.
No worries. You guys have a good night.
You too, mate. Thank you. Well, Matt, that's interesting. Both guys so far were one has said the heat and the tire, and the other one's the wear. So
Yeah. Just different driving styles, I'd imagine. Yeah, just depending on how much you're going into the corner and leaning on that right front or leaning on that
yeah.
right rear.
Well, we might pull up the race winner. I said a few weeks ago he's got to eventually get a race win when I'm around, and he's actually done it tonight. We've pushed him to the front, and he's finally got a race win for us. Welcome to the booth, Josh.
Cheers, Mark. Good to see you again, man. Finally got that win for me, mate.
Mate, congratulations! What a race! Right throughout the whole 80 laps. It was a tough battle for no matter where you looked in the field.
Oh, mate, yeah. Everyone was on top of everyone throughout the whole race. It was a massive pack sort of race, and it was good fun. It was actually good fun. In practice, I didn't like the car, but as we did more and more laps, it was actually not too bad. It ended up being a good race. But yeah, what a spectacular end to that. Far out.
Yeah, mate. Look, Rubbin's racing, and I know that there was some comments over the race radio. I was tuned in, and no one held any malice. Everyone was just saying great racing, tough racing, and that's what you've come to expect from this series from ANZCAR. Tough racing week in, week out.
Yeah, we all sort of know how we all sort of race each other and stuff. And when it's the last lap or and all that sort of thing, a little bit of door action's all good. Is what it is. But yeah, there's not one person that said we didn't have a good race tonight. So it was everyone's really happy. Had a good night's racing overall, really for everyone. So yeah, it's good fun.
Well, really, mate, when you come here to Pocono, you expect a few more cautions. I think there was 4 cautions, Matt.
Oh, off the top of my head, I have got a little check on that. Let's have a look. 5 cautions for 15 laps.
Well, Josh, you've got to be happy with that. As I said, when you come here to Pocono, you expect a lot more, but 5 cautions, unbelievable racing right throughout the field.
Yeah, tonight I messed up qualifying. Completely missed the setup a bit, and then worked our way forward through the race. And yeah, I don't know. Just as we've done more and more laps, we got used to the car. It just came to us. We ended up leading a fair few laps. I think myself and Pearson sort of burnt off our tyres a little bit battling each other at the start while we're at the front. But yeah, so you know, I've had a win this year in this car, so I've been itching to get a win in this car. We've been getting results last month or so. We haven't been outside the top five for quite a while, 5 or 6 weeks, I think, minus a road course. But I knew it was coming soon, I reckon. So I wasn't giving up without a fight tonight. So it's good fun.
Well, we did say I just said to Matt uh, three or 4 weeks ago we said we'd push you to the win, and you finally done it. You said there about your tyres burning off your tyres. Was it actually wear, or was it just overheating?
Yeah, it's just overheating a little bit, to be honest. It wasn't really wear,
Yeah.
just the heat in them. So yeah, myself and Jace just decided to just stay out and just let's just mix it up. Well, we don't usually do that sort of stuff, and end up paying off for one of us tonight. So it was good.
Yeah, unlucky there for Jason, getting involved in that wreck. Otherwise it could have been a 1-2 for you guys.
Yeah, well, potentially. Yeah, that's what we were sort of hoping. But yeah, unfortunately, I think he tagged another car or something, and that was the end of it for him. But yeah, well, that was obviously the intention as well. Both staying out and getting the draft off of each other as well, and see how we go. But yeah, wasn't meant to be.
All right, different question for you. Restart zones. We've only just got them into iRacing, and me personally, from a driver aspect, I think they're fantastic. It's probably the best thing iRacing could have done. How have you been finding them these last couple of weeks?
Well, tonight was the first time I've actually led since they came out. I've been off a second and third and fourth multiple times. To be honest, no real difference until tonight when I was leading. It was a little bit different. So, but yeah, it's not too bad. It's not totally different or whatever. It's just if you leave it too late, the green's just going to come out anyway. So yeah, which actually happened tonight. I left it a bit too late. I think the green came out, and then I think Jason got a black flag, to be honest with you, before he got wrecked, because I think he jumped the start a little bit as well. So, but yeah, it's not too bad. We just got to get used to it, leading them. That's all.
Yeah. Well, mate, congratulations on the race win tonight. We knew it was coming from your results the last couple of weeks. Before we let you go, love the sponsors and supporters.
Yeah, it's thanks to Matty Hunter and Carl as well, and you, Mark, for broadcasting tonight. And our sponsors as well, of course, Finney Constructions Australia, Mad As Designs, and ANZCAR, and all the Mitch Motorsport boys that do all the hard work on the other series as well. Daniel, Hamish, and Jace. And yeah, that's about it, I think.
All right, mate. Well, congratulations again. I'm glad I was here to see your victory, and hopefully we're talking to you back in the booth very, very soon for another race win.
Yeah, no worries. We'll try and bring another Days of Thunder ending next week.
Yeah, thanks very much for your time, mate, and congratulations again.
All right, cheers, boys.
Well, Matt, Carl, there you have it. What an entertaining race. We knew Josh had to get there sooner or later, and he's done it tonight.
He has indeed, but a really good win, well-deserved win as well, and getting that duck off his shoulder for this car as well. It's not been the easiest season for the Mitch boys. I mean, of course, Jace got the win at Nashville. We saw Danny G, of course, get a win earlier on in the season at Vegas, and finally, Josh has ticked his name off the board. So we've got all three of the Mitch Motorsport cars getting wins in this series, which is, it's taken longer than expected, in all honesty. I mean, usually the Mitch boys have got a few wins under their belt by this time, but it has been a tricky transition to this car. Of course, we're heading off to Indianapolis next time, and it is the road course. So we're not on an oval next time, so we're on the road course. So that's going to shake things up an enormous amount. So that's going to be a very different change of pace for everything. But a fantastic race tonight. Real aggressive driving out there as well towards the end. But as I say, rubbing is racing, and some aggressive racing, but not too aggressive at some points. There was a couple of moments that maybe you go, oh, that's too much. A few people making a couple of mistakes as well, but most of that was very well driven.
Yeah, definitely some tough racing. As you said, some paint swapping. And maybe one or two things may come under the scrutiny of the race admin post race, but hey, that's NASCAR for you. It's there. You've got to those last 5 laps or the overtime. You've really got to push yourself, and unfortunately mistakes happen, and it's not huge mistakes. It's only slight touches that can cause a huge wreck.
Yeah, it's absolutely millimeters in it sometimes, and that's the difference. Is if you've just got a millimeter left or a millimeter right, that's the difference between having a huge wreck or having an amazing pass, and that's the skill of oval racing. It's a very different form of racing, but it is an absolute skill. Matt, your opinions on that one?
Yeah, it was a pretty exciting race. Good to see the strategies and the mixes of tyres and everyone's sort of different driving strategies. Some drivers going hard, some drivers sort of going easy at the start and then coming to the front, as the run went on. And last 10 laps, 10, 15 laps, that's what that's when it's all on the line really, and you got to go for it. And pretty much every driver in the field went for it. And unfortunately, we had a few more cautions from it, but it's really good to see everyone going for it. And yeah, that was a fantastic ending. That one, those last 2 laps were pretty crazy.
Yeah, definitely was. I don't know what our spectators or our viewers think. I know myself as a league owner and a racer, I'd rather have more cautions at the rear end of the race, where you need to buy your ticket to that last 20, 25 laps or 30 laps, and everything prior to that is just a survival.
Yeah, I agree. Like as I say, there was a perfect example with I think Trahir and Williams. Early in the race, if you're Williams, you're going to lift and let him in there because you don't want to cause a caution, because there's no point causing caution on lap 10 of 80. But if you're in the laps 70 or whatever it is, you don't start giving those breaks anymore. You're racing for those final positions, so you don't cut that slack anymore.
Yeah, you just tighten everything up, and if you want to get my spot, you're going to have to push me out of the road.
That's the one.
Yeah. Well,
Excellent.
we're back next week, Carl. It's good to hear you back in the booth, mate. I heard you there last night, and it was good. And yeah,
Yeah, 2 nights in a row, but I'll hopefully make it back next week. But I'll have to see how things balance out. Unfortunately, it's a bit of a tricky time with the old health at the moment. So got to see how I'm feeling before the night. But thank you so much, Mark, for jumping up tonight. Always a pleasure to have you in your booth. And a big thank you, of course, to Maddie Hunter as well, doing all of the camera work and jumping on comms as well. But we will see you next week for the Cup Series, the 24/7 Sim Services ANZCAR Cup Series at the Indianapolis Road Course for the next race on July 20th.
See you next
looking forward to that.
week. See ya.